Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. It's Wednesday morning. Here, 85 degrees today. Back home in Wyoming, I think the high is 31. And it looked like from photos, they got about 8 inches of snow last night. School's canceled. A whole bunch of things are canceled. I have to say I'm kind of happy about being in the warm weather. What can I say? Sorry guys, back home, sorry. And I guess the Midwest is getting hammered. It was kind of cooler last night. When we woke up, it was only about 63 degrees, which is cooler than it has been. But I assume it's just that Arctic front that's going through across the country. I finished planting my big garden. Now, when I say big, it is not big like my community garden that had 3 plots. It has 8 beds. They're in the ground beds, but I put straw and twigs and leaves around them, kind of hold the moisture in. It's up a little bit from what the soil level is. So I've planted plants, I planted my seeds. I'm going to show you some video of me doing that. And other projects we're doing around the yard. Joe put in a new spigot on the side of the house. I planted daffodils, which I bought in August, put in my freezer until we left, and then I had them in the refrigerator till I was ready to plant, just to fool them to think it had been winter. So I'm hoping that, of course they would have grown anyway, but they wouldn't necessarily have flowered. So I'm hoping that they were in the freezer long enough that they will flower. So I'm going to show you that. We planted what's called a pygmy palm. Now there's like 2,600 different kinds of palms. And you think about the palms you see in California, date palms, but there's actually 2,600 different types. And in the pygmy family, I think there's 12 different types. So the one that we got should get 6 to 8 feet tall. They're slow growers. And in the bucket, it actually has 3. They sell them in clumps of 3. So there's one that was a lot larger than 2 smaller ones. And we will have to do a trench so that we can water them in the summertime. But I'm actually that whole area, I'm going to do a bunch of stuff. So until then, I'm just going to water with the hose or water it with buckets. But it's a cute little thing, so I'll show you that. And I fixed my clock. We have this old clock that we got from my cousin Dennis. He lives down here. And last year it worked perfect, but it was hot in my little tin can because we don't have the electricity on during the summertime. So who knows how hot it got in here. I had it in the closet with blankets on top just to kind of insulate it, but it wouldn't run when we got back. But we sprayed some WD-40. We did different things. My cousin Dennis was over. He says maybe it's shouldn't be so even, so flat. So we propped it up on one side, I propped it up on the back side. That didn't work. Then I thought, what if I just put the back on? Maybe it needs the back on to have it all balanced. I put the back on, it's working like a charm. But let's go outside. I'm going to show you my whole planting system, my raised beds that I did the other day that I did the video. Everything is looking really good. I haven't done any more towers, because Thursday, tomorrow, is when the big nursery is supposed to get buku truckloads of new plants. So I just didn't want to get anything. I wanted to get some really unique flowers, and I'm looking for strawberries, but I just can't seem to find strawberry plants at this time of the year. I know they sell them here in about January, but I'd like to put them in the tower so I could enjoy them now. So if you guys have an idea of where I can buy some strawberry plants, I should have dug some up from my house. I literally have hundreds of strawberry plants, but I didn't. But let's go outside. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Always like, subscribe, share with the world. Let's go. Joe was flying his drone, so I asked him if he would fly over the garden for me so you have a view. So you can see the 8 beds from above, and you can see that they're all planted. And it really gives you a different perspective. So there he is with the drone, and he's going past our little fruit trees, where the daffodils are. And then you can see an aerial view of my raised beds from the video that I did last week. And I love what it looks like. There's a lot of gravel in Arizona instead of grass. So here's the beds before I planted. You can see all 8 of them. The majority, 4 of them, are about 3 feet by 5 feet. Then we have some that are 5 feet by 5 feet and 4 feet by 5 feet. And this first bed, I'm just doing a series of basils, French tarragon, dill, and lemongrass. But because they're small, I'll be able to add things with seeds beforehand. And I'll be able to do that with several of the beds. But I just laid out everything, all the plants that I had. So it's time to plant. So what I'm going to do is dig a good hole. And I've worked the soil, so it's really easy. And I thought I had my knife in my pocket, but I didn't. So I'm just going to break off the dead parts of that French tarragon. Now, French tarragon is one of my favorite spices, and I love cooking with it. And so I'm going to tease those roots out. I'm going to take the little stake and put it next to it. And of course I have a plan, you know, on a piece of paper. So let's just speed that up, and we're just going to plant all kinds of things. They're in a 4-inch pot, all of these herbs, and they ran me about $2.50 a pot, which I thought was really a nice price for the size of herbs that they were. Now in between them, I made 4 little rows, and I'm going to grow radishes and carrots. Now the radishes always come up before the carrots. They kind of shade it. It helps it with their germination. And carrots always take a lot longer to germinate than radishes do. So the first row is going to be radishes. Then the 3rd row will be radishes. And then I'll do the 2nd and the 4th row with the carrots. Now I've grown these carrots down here before, and they grew well. And both the radishes and the carrots are short day ones, so that the radishes take about 24 days, 25 days. The carrots are faster than normal carrots because they're not quite as large. I'm just teasing that dirt over top of the seeds. And then I always like to use my hand to pack it down, just so that there's good contact with the soil. And of course I'll water these in good. But because you pack it down a little bit, your seeds aren't going all over the place. Those are my little tags for right now, because I am making some fused glass ones. Now this is a seed tape. They're beets. And you can see that there's 3 rows of them. I did a little trench, and I am just going to lay it down, cover it with soil, and I'll be able to water it in. Now my dad had watermelon this summer that he said was just so big and so good, he saved the seeds. So he gave them to me. So I am going to plant a hill of watermelon. So I'm going to just open that up, and I'll use 4 or 5 seeds out of that paper towel. And I'm just going to push them into the hill, pack it down, and then I'll water it in good. Plus I can water in that trench so it stays moist. See, I still have a lot of seeds. In fact, he gave me 2 packets, so I'll give him one of the packets when he gets back down here so that he can grow some over at his house too. I have this bed done, and it's got pumpkins. I also brought some okra that I had grown. I dried the seeds, and there's a fig tree right there that I planted in that bed. This bed back here has broccolini. It's not broccoli, it's broccolini, which doesn't form a hard head. It also has some cauliflower there. Now in this bed is peppers and some corn, 6 tomato plants, and a couple other pumpkins. And I'll let all those pumpkins grow outside the garden space. There's the watermelon. I did a cantaloupe right next to it. I added that little fence, and I planted cucumbers. Behind the fence is calendula. I love the flowers, and it draws a lot of bees in. Now we have cabbages here and red cabbages in this one. Now over here we did the beets, and right in the corner I did a zucchini plant. Then for the herbs, there's chives, cilantro, chives, parsley, and lavender. And then, of course, you saw the bed that I did. So it has 5 different types of basil. I love basil, and there's some Thai basil, one of my favorites. It has the French tarragon. It has a dill and lemongrass. Now, my lemongrass, when we got back, that was over by the lemon tree, was over 6 feet tall. So we'll see how it does this year. So here are my daffodils that I'm doing. And as I talked about earlier, they were in the freezer for a couple months, then they've been in the refrigerator. So I put soil. Now these are pots that I got my citrus trees in. And so I had saved them, so that's why I'm using them. And this big bag of daffodils, I'm also going to plant some of them in the raised beds by the potatoes. So after they're pressed into the soil, I'm going to add at least 6 inches of soil on top of them, because these are large daffodils. There's a lot of different sizes of daffodils, but mine are large, and so they need 6 inches. Well, we're back inside. And did I tell you that I'm making a coconut cream pie with vanilla beans? It's cooling in the refrigerator right now. Actually, I won't make the whipped topping until later tonight, and then I'll put that video for tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock, for Thursday morning. I'm working on plant stakes that are fused glass for my other channel, fused glass artwork. Those are going to go in the kiln later today when they get all the way dry. It's just busy. I just can't even tell you how busy we have been in this last week and a couple days that we've been here. I think we've been here 8 days now. 9 days, actually, I think. But it's good. It's good. And I have to tell you, I feel recharged. And I'll talk about that in another video. But as always, I will see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope you're having a safe day if you're in that snowy weather. See you next time.